Stamp your feet and clap your hands like you were at a Bronco game and give Sarah Palin a welcome they can hear and feel back in Martha's Vineyard. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Palin.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dan. Thank you so much. I'm just so happy to get to be here. It is so nice to get to participate in something that CCU is in charge of, and they do such good work. They're like salt and light out there in the education arena. We appreciate CCU, you students who are here. Keep up the good work, and all the officials and staff at CCU. Keep up the good work. It is nice to be back in the Mile High City. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. Flying in, you know, we're over your snow-capped hills. I think you call them mountains. I flew in from Alaska. It's so gorgeous, yeah. Step off the plane. Todd reminds me, we're in Colorado, don't inhale. So the president was here last week too, huh? He was getting his Rocky Mountain High on. Busy week for him, spinning from one scandal to another scandal. Must have had some vertigo. The Middle East exploding in chaos at this time in our open border crisis. No time to visit the border, but time to shoot some pool and wet his whistle and grin real big for those icky photo ops that he just really, really hates. And he raked in big bucks at big parties with fat cats. His term, not my term. This in a border state, he was. The president so disparages these cats in public, but in private, there's a whole lot of cuddling and purring and tummy tickling with the one who feeds them. See, for them, politics isn't a passionate cause. It's a moneymaker. It's a business. And when the crony capitalists gather, whining and dining with their pal, the president, the rest of us are on the menu. We're not invited to the party. We're the forgotten man. During the Great Depression, President Roosevelt, he spoke about the forgotten man, the man at the bottom of the totem pole, the man who FDR said he wanted to help with his New Deal. But as Emmett Schlase wrote, government, big government under that New Deal, the policies hurt more than they helped. They made the Depression last longer and unemployment even worse. Sound familiar? It's the same old story today as government bloats, crony capitalists. Man, they just eat it up. They're swallowing that largesse. And those inclined to keep government big, wasteful, they're those who profit from it. It's a permanent political class. In both sides of the aisle, they feed off this, and they feed off the rest of us. And today, we're the forgotten man. The forgotten man is the hard-working middle class who just can't seem to get a break. Income's flatlined, making less than a decade ago, worried about mortgage and kids' college tuition, retirement, some worried about putting food on the table. The forgotten man is the college grad who voted for that hopey, changey stuff, but now can't find a job and is losing hope. He's got no change. The forgotten man is the soldier that we sent off to war with a hip, hip, hooray. And look at them today. They came home forever scarred from that battlefield. And now they need that compensation that they earned, they were promised by a grateful nation. They, though, are shuffled around the VA and denied that ration care. They're made to wait. Some die waiting, while bureaucrats sneak themselves some raises there, and they corrupt paper trail that they try to hide. Well, the forgotten man is the patriot, too. She has a tea party, and she just wants to champion the blessings of liberty. But she soon finds herself a target of the IRS. And when she complains about it, no one listens until the head of the IRS finally had to admit to the wrongdoing. And even when crystal clear evidence stares the president in the face, he lies. He says there's no corruption at all, not even a smidgen. Sadly, the forgotten man got used to being lied to. Benghazi. President got us into a war with Libya without congressional approval. Our ambassador there begged for security and was ignored and then murdered when the consulate was attacked, as predicted, by savage Muslim terrorists. And Americans there were left behind to die. Then Obama helped spread the lie that spontaneous protest, well, it was over YouTube, and it was to blame for this highly organized and premeditated attack. The forgotten man is used to Obama's lawlessness, and you can use as another example amnesty. Well, Congress refused or declined to pass the DREAM Act. Remember, they didn't want amnesty. They knew the people didn't want amnesty. So, no DREAM Act, but the Dream Weaver, he waved his magic wand, and Obama unilaterally enacted his own, which created the current crisis that we're seeing as illegals are pouring in to collect what he illegally promised them. I want to talk to, I don't know if there's any Democrats in the crowd, but if there are Democrats who maybe will watch later, I want to ask Democrats, come on now, your guy, the one who was going to part the waters and calm the seas and sink every shot, or whatever that fairy tale was back in '08. Do you really still support the Obama doctrine that is break the law, get a reward? See, his incentives are invitations, and it's going to get worse. And now the forgotten man is working class from all backgrounds, all races, native-born and legal immigrants. They're forced to compete for limited jobs and services against this flood of illegal immigrants. And if you think it's only those precious, innocent children, you see them on TV, and they're being abused by their parents, any parent who would send them on such a journey up to America's red line, disintegrated red line. No, it's not just the innocent children. Open borders, well, nothing's there to sift out the bad guys, the gangbangers and the terrorists. They will be mixed in there. And we're offering to take care of them. I think it's insane. America, the unfunded charity? But then again, if you agree with me, it's probably, you got some common sense in you, and common sense is an endangered species in D.C. Yes. Well, America, the unfunded charity, we're offering to strengthen them, and we're going to be overrun. If Obama won't obey the law and secure the borders, then it's not immigration, it's invasion. You know that we're trillions in debt, and cities insolvent, and we've got these overrun healthcare systems and police departments and schools and welfare state that's stretched to the max. And ordinary Americans know this, but the politicians' rich pro-amnesty pals there in Silicon Valley or they're on Wall Street. They can afford the best security border that money can buy in their own tidy, exclusive, gated communities. So they're not too worried. And notice they're not hauling illegals to those swanky hoods in D.C. or Manhattan or San Francisco. They're housed in vacant schools in working class neighborhoods. Why not Harvard and Columbia U? But there are two schools out for summer. Millions of Americans, too. They're out of work, but wealthy amnesty supporters, they don't want to hire and pay American workers a decent wage, evidently. They'd rather replace them with foreign labor because it's cheaper. The forgotten man. He believes that if you play by the rules and you do right, you can still earn a decent living and the dignity that comes with that. You can get ahead. You can work hard and lay a foundation of success for your children, and they can finish what you had started. But, you know, that is lost when some people don't have to play by the rules, and when those at the top collude to drive down wages of American workers by replacing them. But what the man, the forgotten man, has is belief in this exceptional nation. So this man, we say, no one is going to fundamentally transform our nation, undermining its rule of law, making it just another chunk of land on a map that's no different from the countries that our ancestors left in order to stake claim here legally. But still, we have to ask, well, who's looking out for the American worker? Who's got their back? Who fights for them? Who will stand up for the forgotten man? You know, one man did. He was an FDR Democrat, and he left his party because he says his party left him. That man, of course, was Ronald Reagan. Reagan said, our hero Reagan, he said, you can't be for big government and big taxes and big bureaucracy and still be for the little guy. He stood for us. He believed firmly in legal immigration, just as I do. Made that amnesty mistake with unsecured borders problem, but I bet you he'd never make the same mistake twice, so let us learn from history. He stood for the working man, for opportunity, and that's why the Reagan Democrats stood with him. I think it was summed up well on my Facebook page. A guy, Sam Griffith, he posts, I grew up poor. My mother was a die-hard FDR Democrat. When I turned 18, the first president I voted for was Ronald Reagan. And my mother, she was beside herself when she asked me, why would I vote for him? I told her, I didn't plan on staying poor. This is our message. This is what we stand for. You want to win big in these midterms, you want to win big in 2016, then listen to Sam. Stand for the guy who still wants to believe in the American dream. The little guy that might not afford a seat at the table of the foo-foo, she fancy fundraisers, but they don't begrudge success. They celebrate it, and they want to achieve it themselves by doing right. Not by cutting D.C. deals and greasing palms of power. Right is making government live within its means, keeping it limited to protect liberties, to allow prosperity. It's understanding that the Constitution is not a tool for government to restrain the people. As Patrick Henry said, it's an instrument for the people to restrain the government. what's right is standing for freedom and a culture of life and respecting our United States military and letting free markets create jobs and securing the borders to protect those jobs. It means, Mr. President, defending our borders, defending our Constitution and our rule of law. And that's your job, Mr. President. These days, you hear all of these politicians, they're denouncing Barack Obama, say, oh, he's a lawless, imperial president, and ignores court orders and changes laws by fiat, and refuses to enforce laws that he just doesn't like. That's true, but the question is, okay, politicians, what are you gonna do about it? Let's call their bluff. I'm calling their bluff because we need a little less talk and a lot more action. There's only one remedy for a president who commits high crimes and misdemeanors, and it's impeachment. It's the I word. I'll tell you why. You don't need some fancy law degree hanging on your wall there to know that laws are not being enforced today. Illegal immigrants all over the world also know that. And you know, I don't need lectures from Eric Holder. A guy, get this, a guy so incompetent that he denied voter fraud existed even after someone claimed that they were Eric Holder and they got his ballot and they voted in D.C. Not even a smidgen, no. Oh, dear Eric. You know, not many cabinet members in U.S. history have been held in contempt of Congress, but he still wants to weigh in. If he wants to weigh in, maybe he can tell his boss, get out of the bubble. Go to those border towns, working class communities, see consequences of deliberately not enforcing law. See what happens. See the people, the effects. And Eric, instead of shamelessly playing that race card again, try to get it that illegal immigration hurts all Americans, all races and backgrounds. Even Cesar Chavez, he opposed it because he knew that it hurts legal immigrants and our working class fighting for decent wages. It's a nonpartisan issue. And that racism charge, it's a disgusting false charge. Just because someone opposes a failed, unjust agenda, that makes you a racist? Mr. Attorney General, he needs to use his noggin and answer what's to account then for the anti-Obama policy protests going on today in black communities and in Hispanic circles and on reservations and in my own home. No, that racism charge, you know why they do that, you guys? It's to stop debate right there. They can't get us on the issues. We're right on this issue about what illegal immigration is going to do to this country. But throw out that word there, racist, and the reporters let them off. Critics, friends, they let them off because that, to them, is their deadly charge, the only way that they can win on these issues. Who would go right to the color of a man's skin to judge, to marginalize, and to lay blame? Who? Only one quite prejudiced. And on impeachment, let's talk more about impeachment because it's got them nervous. And let's be clear, they know even that high crimes and misdemeanors, it doesn't mean today's ordinary criminal charges. The framers used the term to mean a dereliction of duty. It was explained by many of our founders as dereliction of duty, knowing that the first duty of the president is to enforce our laws and to preserve and protect and defend the Constitution. It was Alexander Hamilton who described impeachable offenses as the abuse or violation of some public trust. He called them political offenses because they relate chiefly to injuries done immediately to the society itself. No serious person can deny that Team Obama has abused and violated the public trust and the Constitution. Man, rocking us to our core. From Benghazi, fast and furious gun running, stimulus bust, greenies on our greenbacks, and the scandals, NSA spies, Obamacare lies, VA, vets die. The IRS aims to repress conservative voice. The DOJ wiretaps reporters. Violation of our religious rights. And there's ignoring illegal in-house fundraising that we've heard recently has been going on. The list of abuses, it goes on and on. And look, alone not defending borders is dereliction of duty, violating the oath of office. If that's not impeachable, then nothing is. And if he's not impeachable, no one is. And upon the world stage, I wish we had time to talk about some of these national security issues. So much is going on. Too much to cover, but one of the problems, we can't even ID the enemy in these overseas contingency operations. That would be war, the definition of war to us, that's what we would call it. Intervention strategies, though, that are so unreliable and even inconsequential as applied to fighting to win. Now, juxtapose that, our murkiness, with, say, Benjamin Netanyahu's clarity. He says, we develop missile defense systems to protect our citizens, while they use their citizens to protect their missiles. So whose side are you on? The list does go on. Not all impeachable offenses, of course. Some just offensive. And with excuses. Blame Bush, blame Boehner, blame bummer of a ball game that he had that day, or a bad day on the links. Who knows what Team Obama, why they do what they do? It makes no sense. But the Constitution holds the president responsible for the executive branch. He can't just call it in. He can't just vote present and feign ignorance of all of this any more than a mob boss can claim innocence because, well, he didn't personally do the hit. The buck stops with the guy at the top. Considering articles of impeachment is the check. Making the case for it is not difficult. Difficult is having the moral courage to do what's right. Congress, it takes guts to hold him accountable. It takes political will. I'm hearing some argue for cautious inaction, they're terming it. They're saying, well, Obama's policies are exposed as failures anyway, so why rock the boat? But that argument, it misses the point. Folks, he is radically changing the balance of power. It's setting a wicked, dangerous precedent. With his pen and his phone, he's abrogating congressional authority, making himself a ruler, not a president. You know, we had a revolution back in 1776 because we don't do kings. Some say say, oh, just wait for the next election and the next and the next. Wait for the next election and hope that big GOP victory reins in the radicals. Been there, done that. In 2010, friends, if we let Congress refuse to use the power that the Constitution gives it, Barack Obama will continue to rule however he wants, and the fabric of America will unravel. So don't be afraid to raise this and know that there's no other recourse. Right now, we're drifting. The country's rudderless. And the captain, he's saying, well, I'm going it alone. Well, shipmates, then it's our responsibility to use that tool in the toolbox to hold him accountable, to send that message. We won't put up with the lawlessness. That's why we have to influence Congress on this. Remember, the only thing necessary for them to fundamentally transform America is for good men to do nothing. We must hold him accountable. And if not these violations, then what? If not these violations, and this imperial president is pledged to continue to go it alone so arrogantly. Okay, if not that, then what will it take? How bad does it have to get? Consider this. We live now in an America where government spies on us and targets because of political beliefs. Terrorist leaders, they're set to go free, back to their death cults, back to the battlefield, keep doing what they want to do best, and that's kill Americans. We let them go free. We live in an America where our health care is taken from us, and then we are forced by government to buy something that we don't want, we can't afford. An America where government takes aim at Catholic nuns because they adhere to their Catholic faith, and where no border, no nation, and we live in an America where the president keeps a kill list of people he says that he's authorized to see executed on sight. Oh, America. If you're fine with that, then by all means, sit back, hope for the best. But your apathy is their power. The rest of us, we need change. We know we need change in order to save this republic. And that comes with healing the injuries done to a society by an unchecked president. And that starts with having the guts to talk about impeachment. This lame duck administration, I guarantee you, they will engage in all sorts of mischief in these next few years. Just think, judicial branch, what danger can be had there with appointments. So please look ahead and consider that judicial damage, understanding that it'll be unrecoverable. We must send the message now. We can't wait. We need to have our voice heard on this. You need to use your mighty weapons of a pen and a phone and influence Congress. It's got to be with courage. And sunny optimism. I always think about Reagan, sunny optimism, rooted in time-tested truths that are on our side, to stand for liberty, again, and to stand for prosperity, and know that the key to lasting prosperity, it's not a handout, it's the calloused hands of those who built this country. Lasting prosperity doesn't come from top-down government or community organizing. This exceptional country, it was built by the little guy, the guy who plowed the fields and worked the factories, built the railroads and the skyscrapers and the pipelines and the power plants. They planted and they sowed and they harvested and they carved a nation out of the wilderness. And the most brave, they fought and won our country's wars. They made America the greatest nation in the history of mankind. Yes, they built it. They deserve our work now. It is our turn. This president's forgotten man is we, the people. And we, the people, know that our best days are still ahead because we know that God shed his grace on thee, America. He's given us our freedom to do what's right. God doesn't drive parked cars. I think he expects us to get up and take action in order to defend these freedoms that are God-given. I think it's an affront to God to let this go on because he gave us these freedoms. We're not going to let someone, a person, a party, take them from us. We're not going to dethrone God and substitute him with someone who wants to play God. Friends, as you enjoy beautiful Colorado, I think it's providential. Consider this state's motto: nothing without providence. I love finding out that that's the state's motto. We can appeal to heaven for wisdom and for courage, and America will be saved. Everything with providence. Be ever thankful. Don't let anybody tell you to sit down and shut up. Go rogue if you got to go rogue. Get out there and fight for what is right. And you know what is right. Look down the road. Be ever thankful. I thank you so much for being here and wanting to be a part of a summit that can energize you. You energize me. You motivate me and Todd. You keep us going. I got your back because I know you got my back, and I appreciate it. And I thank you so much for being a part of this cause for freedom. So God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I got a present for you. Sarah Palin, the amazing Sarah Palin. Governor Palin, gosh, that was wonderful. What an honor that we had you on the CCU campus 3 years ago, and we've been looking forward to having you back, and this was terrific. We want to send you back to Alaska with a reminder of what real mountain peaks look like and how it might be if you, the mama grizzly, posed in front of them with one of your bear cubs.
Oh, I love it. That's so sweet. Thank you.
Come back to Colorado soon if you ever get tired of those little hills in Alaska. Thank you.
Sir. We appreciate you so much. This was fun.
Sarah Palin. The most, boy, Dan Caplis couldn't have said it better. The most influential woman in the history of the Republican Party. And